as far as with what I've done so far, like, I've been real successful when it comes to, like, school and everything. I've always had a good work ethic. I've tried really hard and generally gotten good results, but above all that, I gotta say, music is the one thing that just comes naturally to me. Even more so than school, more so than definitely athletics, sports, anything like that, but like, I've always felt that I've had the ability to just write, good songs without even really feeling like I'm trying or putting in nearly as much effort. Lyrics too. And just, I could write songs that, each sound different, that are each structured differently. No two, like, melodies are exactly the same, and I've always been grateful that it's always been a good thing. And, and it's also good to have just, kind of grown up, with, like, that, like, reputation. It's like, people see, that same side too. Like, they have always told me, Matt, you're a natural. Jeez, how do you do it? Like, I've heard that a lot, and it's always meant a lot. It's always a good thing to hear things like that from people you hang out with regularly. But yeah, it's I only wish it were easier to get into, like, the music business. I've always been told and just know from experience that yeah, it's not easy at all. It takes a lot of being turned down, a lot of, like, disappointments, and plenty of, like, patience before anybody might recognize you for real, and before you might have a shot at, getting anywhere. But, and, like, also, it always seems like, I deal with a lot outside of music that doesn't, work out. That's, like, almost, in some cases, the polar opposite, or some cases, it works, but it just, requires more effort. And I just feel half the time that all that music just, it kind of just, like, falls into place. And, at the perfect time when I'm, like, experiencing something difficult, like, when I'm going through a lot with school, or if I'm, like, in any situation where I'm in fear of, like, being in trouble or something, or anything socially, or anything else of that sort. But, music just kind of seems to fall, like, right into place in that sense. And the song itself, many lines of the song just kind of, describe, like, what I've done regularly. Like, say, if I'm, hanging out at home, no one's really around, I'm at home for one weekend, or even during breaks, and have nothing to do, I'll spend an evening just lying in bed listening to, like, records, and I'll even daydream that I'm, like, on stage and performing, that I'm really getting, the kind of attention that I've always wanted, to get, even if it does seem a little far. There's nothing wrong with having a dream, even if it is far out there, I suppose. But yeah, it kind of goes over what you normally do. Like, I always like to listen to, like, the old records. Nothing beats the classics, and nothing, gets you in touch with music in a more realistic fashion than listening to, good old oldies. It's definitely been more of an influence, as much as I like music that's out now, well, certain kinds, but and the song itself is also interesting. It's like my closest attempt at writing, like, a pop song, only I generally, incorporate pop as, like, alright, just songs consisting of, like, 3 and 4 chords, and those that have been done hundreds of times, at least to date. And I didn't want to sound like that, I wanted to keep my creativity intact and play. Certain chords are, like, unpredictable, and structure the song a little differently, and it's real catchy. I think today it's my shortest one, and it's one that I enjoy playing live. It's definitely a good opener, it's one whose lyrics can, relate to almost anybody, and, that anyone will just, like, pick up the vibe on, and I also just like, the catchiness of, not only the verses and the melody, but then in the bridge, I play, like, it's like, basically in that, I'm just playing, the vocal melody only on the piano. And what's nice about this is I can experiment with different instruments. I actually play the honky-tonk piano right over that, the exact same melody, which blended so well, with the original piano. I came to like the results plenty, and I also added in a harmonica there. It provides just like enough background sound. I wouldn't want it like in the front, you know, it would sound overpowering. It's not one of those instruments that should be overpowering to any other part of the song or any other instrument, so and it's a pretty unusual blend. I mean, you have like the regular piano, the honky-tonk piano, then the harmonica. Who would have ever thought, right? But, and as far as, you know, composition, you know, this is, like, you know, not only is it short, but it's not the traditional style. It consists of, like, you know, a very long first verse, and then the chorus, then, you know, a bridge with nothing too complicated, and then the last chorus, and then it just ends like that, you know, so it's nice and short, and it's, you know, not structured in, you know, the most similar way to any other songs, but I've always really liked this one. It's definitely a lot different from, you know, the songs I've written, and its closest, you know, relation to any sort of pop song. And I had actually been told, after, like, recording the first demo, and having, like, sent it to people who are actually, like, in music, and, you know, who I know that, you know, it's important to have a hook in a song. Like, you know, a lot of my earlier songs had a lot of creativity to them. There's some that are very melodic and lengthy, and it's all, like, very well and good, but at least to, like, start things out, at least if you're starting out as a musician, it's really important to, like, you know, establish an audience, get them hooked on your stuff, and it's good to have songs that are a little bit shorter in length, you know, whose lyrics are a little more commercial, and just, you know, to have, like, that good hook, whether it's not through harmonies, but just like a good melody, and this song, you know, really just kind of got me going on that path after I'd been told, like, you know, how good, you know, songs like The Old Time Thrill and Still I Wonder sound, so I basically took their advice, and, you know, I wanted to write a pop song, but then I also didn't, because, you know, I've heard a bunch of pop artists, you know, that have made it in music, and I know a bunch of people who are, like, musicians themselves who write a lot of pop songs, and to me it's just, you know, they don't write anything special, anything unusual, anything that hasn't already been done, like, a million times, and it's all just real boring to me, so I want to be, like, unpredictable, which is something that's always good to be. One always has to have, like, a style of his own, so. And it's got, you know, a nice abrupt end. Well, not like abrupt end, but still, it doesn't, you know, I don't have, like, a really long outro like a few of the other songs, and I think that's also common to, you know, songs that are closer to pop, but yeah, it's like, kind of sounds something like